System error. Alignment unknown.
To get you all up to speed with what happened, just in case you've forgotten, because we didn't do a write-up of this one because there's a podcast to remind you. You guys, all three of you, were brought together under the unlikely scenario of one Brandis Thorne's apparently attempted murder. You guys met in Waterdeep under the response of Brandis trying to leave. So for you, Rinwen, you were there as his sole confidant and someone that he trusted. And for you, Punch, you were there because you guys had a way out of the city because you're part of the Hand, or used to be. Leaving the city through the underground network of tunnels that used to be an old sewer system, you ran into a small group of rats to, as the D&D world know as Build XP, or RP situations. Then leaving out of a tunnel on the side of the cliff, you essentially make your way north for 3 days to the small village of Amphale, where you were met by some interesting characters, one of which was then killed, Ginger, the barman who owns the Silver Arrows Inn, or owned the Silver Arrows Inn. That's a natural one now. You did a light bit of shopping before going to bed, and then being woke by the sounds of a Barney downstairs as a small goblin creature and his pet dog apparently murdered and then moved on to the next shop, trying to find you three, where you guys then tried to help the Dragonborn as the chaotic neutral guy thought we need to save the innocent people and the chaotic good person thought we shouldn't. As I'm pointing at you two, Rinwen is the chaotic good and Brandis is the chaotic neutral.
What's the podcast called?
Alignment unknown.
Thank you.
But now we know your alignments. Punch, you're the sole confidant of this podcast.
This is not good because I'm not good at alignments.
You're at that one.
I'm theoretically not.
Lawful good.
It's fine, I have a bunch of other characters we won't know.
We are alignment known now.
Everyone, get to the merchandise!
It's alright, we're terrible at playing them, so they'll be like, what? I thought you were...
Oh, it's a play on their failure. After saving the Dragonborn shopkeeper of the Bazaar Bazaar, and also meeting a large Warforged fighter known as Dizzy, which stood for the Destructive Intelligent Zealot Zonking Unit with unit spelt wrong.
You'd forgotten, hadn't
It's zonking, it was the zonking.
So you guys then went to tell the blacksmith of the misfortune that had landed on Ginger, the barman, and met Victoria, the other highly held member of society in Amphale, and the other three are currently on a record deal with Virgin, so I can't use their names. If anyone else has gone, wait a minute, Victoria and Ginger. Anyone else were Spice Girls fans? Fine, just me. So we pick up as you guys sit in the.
I feel like a Ginger Baker reference. It's like, no, he's been that cream weren't called that. No.
So we pick up as you guys are sat in the bar. It's early morning. You've only had a few hours sleep before jumping into combat with these guys, and the goblin and dog, which were Gelbrook and Blinks, who were on the road trying to find Punch after she left through nefarious means. You sit with Victoria, who has essentially asked you to fill him in on what has happened over the night and why Ginger is now lying dead on the bar. I give to you.
Well, Punch, you gonna explain to
I'm just looking at the dead body.
Victoria
Well, I had to leave the hand. They were doing things that I just couldn't be associated with. Bad things. Worse than breaking into houses, bad. And I left, and when you popped up, it seemed like a good time to leave. So I faked everything, faked my death. And I left, and that's why I wanted to come with you, because I've got nothing. I don't even have memories. I just have 2 years of being forced to break into houses and steal people's stuff.
I'm terribly sorry to interrupt this beautiful bit of dialect, but what does this have to do with Ginger dying? I did ask what happened to Ginger. Lovely little bit of what the kids call RP. Don't worry, you did great. But why is he lying on? Because you left the hand?
The hand
Isn't
don't like people leaving.
Okay.
Which is why I faked my death, which is why somebody tried to come find me and decided that killing everybody while he was at it was a good idea.
Oh, I get it. You're collateral damage. No, he's collateral damage for your failure. I get it. Wow, that must weigh heavy on the conscience.
Is this going to keep happening?
Well,
I hope not.
if we move fast, maybe no.
Okay. Right.
I mean, you've removed the threat, so I don't seem to think
Well,
that...
they're gonna think...
How many of them are there?
Well, it's an entire guild, and they're gonna wonder why he's not come back at some point.
Maybe they're going to come find him and kill the people who are looking after him, and then that person will die, and then there'll be this whole, like, Ouroboros circle.
I think I'd like you to stop speaking sometimes.
I'm sorry. I appreciate that you guys were woke up in the middle of the night to a strange intruder. I, on the other hand, have been working for days straight with no sleep, having to make everyone else's bloody nails and swords and everything else. Man, it's so hard to be you.
I am sorry.
Let me just turn to my good friend who I normally confide in. Oh wait, he's dead! Sorry, I didn't realise things were so bad for you.
I kind of step away from the body. Just like,
Look, I appreciate the situation you've been placed upon. It's not something, trust me, that I had planned when I came here. There will be stuff done to fix it, won't there, Punch?
Yes.
Yeah, we can help.
Yeah, what do you
Well,
want? What
we
can I-
can't bring it back to life. That'd be really fun. But what else could we do that might help?
Nothing you can do will possibly help the situation. I suggest, if people are trying to hunt you down, moving along in the morning. I'll let you stay for the rest of the night. Obviously, I'm not some sort of, like, warlord. I'm not going to send you out on your ass the moment I find out you're bad. Sleep, rest up, but please, don't be here tomorrow.
Okay. I think that's fair
We
enough.
have Dizzy to look after us. We don't need any other security. He may be slow sometimes, but he means well.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
He's quite impressive.
Did you want us to help bury our friend here?
and then point to Ginger.
We will deal with his funeral tomorrow.
Okay. We're not invited because we need to go tomorrow. That's cool. That's fine. I guess we rest up then and tootle along.
We'll be gone by dawn.
The sun's already coming up. I suggest you have a couple more hours.
We'll be gone by brunch.
Yep.
Brunch will do.
You've been very kind, and I am so sorry. Sorry.
I can't say that it's fine, but like most things, life finds a way. We'll survive. And he starts to just drain his cup and make a way for the door. as you guys sit alone in the tavern with a dead body on the bar.
Check for dinosaurs.
It's because there was a buy downstairs. Is that what you're referencing?
No, life finds a way.
Oh, right.
That one.
Okay, so 2 dinosaur references. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, go, it's okay.
Okay, great, cool.
Well, there's no dinosaurs so far.
I rest.
I will also point out the fact that obviously you guys are in the bar. Dizzy went back to his perimeter watch. He wasn't in the bar with you if that wasn't made clear, sorry. So, you guys drain your own cups and go back to your beds. Trying to get as little, or not as little, but trying to get as much sleep as possible in the little amount of hours you have left. You have rest for a couple of hours so far, so it's not exactly like you're it's a bit like waking up in the middle of the night rather than it being like I've been woken, now I have to do the rest of the day. So, as this happens, I'm going to change the music because things for fun are about to happen.
But it's so sleepy and magical.
I take it we have normal hit points.
You'll return everything back to normal, yeah?
Yeah, very low wizardy hit points.
As you come to slumber, there is a moment for you, Rinwen. You're used to having weirdish dreams like most people are, but for some reason this one is especially vivid. You find yourself in a circular chamber with there's a typical kind of what I'd like to refer to as an old person's rug in the middle of the room. It has that kind of paisley kind of design on. There are wingbacks and other small chairs dotted around the sides of the room with a lot of bookshelves making the walls. You're not sure if there's an actual wall behind it or if it's bookshelf, but there is a door with a bookshelf above it as well. And no windows. And in the top of the room there is a chandelier hanging with green flames coming from the candles that sit in it. As you kind of look around momentarily trying to find some sort of meaning in the dream, you hear the door creak open and a slender figure comes through the door wearing wizard-like robes, purple and red with slight blue highlights every now and then. His hair is slicked back and he looks gaunt in his face. There is a very wispy beard starting to grow on his face. The eyes burn with this kind of like green aura, but they're human in view, but there's this like very ominous kind of green aura that comes from it that seems to speak of a high arcane being. He turns to you as you kind of turn around to spy on it. Ah, yes, fantastic. Hello, Rinwen. How are you?
Do I know who this person is?
You don't seem to recognise him. It just seems to be a person that is in your dream, apparently.
Hello. Sorry, who are you?
I go by many names. You can call me Victor.
Hello, Victor.
Hello. I see that you've managed to escape that mundane little existence you had in Waterdeep. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, that was... How did you know?
Next time you're in your backpack, take another look around, and you may find some information that you might have missed the first time. I come to you... This is a dream, obviously. Don't take this as you've been...
I start pulling out a book and go,
No, by all means, take a book if you'd like. That one, as you kind of pull this, you go over to the wall, you pull out this purple tome, leather bound. It just reads Arcane Through the Ages. Please, by all means, take a book if you would like to read. You can't take it with you, but whilst you're here, you may read.
I might just touch it.
I just kind of...
I don't think that's the
Squish it
book
a
you
bit.
want to play with, though. Why would you want Arcane Through the Ages? That one's boring. He goes over to the other side of the room where there is you start to notice that there's kind of like a spectrum of colour that is made by the books going around the wall, and you're currently in the purplish going through to pinkish kind of colours. He goes over to where there's just it's almost like looking into darkness. There's no actual, it doesn't look like there's any actual books there. It's so black. He pulls a book out and goes, "This one, stole this from a trader whilst he was at the pub. This is the Necronomicon. It's got some fun things in you might enjoy." Not yet, though. He puts it back. Then goes down to the bottom of the shelf and pulls a very thin, kind of almost pamphlet type book out. Comes over to you and hands it to you. You see like these snakes curling around on the front of the pamphlet. There is not a lot else on there, and then suddenly a word just kind of floats up in between the snakes on the page, which just says Necromancy first level. Now I want you to take this with you when you go. And I know I said you can't take books with you, but the knowledge will follow you. I'm sure you'll be able to find some time to write it down in your little spell book.
Why are you giving me this?
Call it an invested interest. I like it when people take an interest. I like to be interested in people. I like to be interested in information. If anything, I like things of interest.
How interesting.
Now, what I merely ask of you is if you ever come back here, just maybe share some interesting information of your own.
Like what?
Anything you find interesting.
Can I... Is it possible to do a check whilst in a dream?
Yeah, if you want to do a check in a dream, because at the moment it's kind of almost like it's real to you, but you've been told you're in a dream, you've not been pulled out of your room into this weird place. This is apparently a dream to you. What would you like to do?
I would like to check, I don't know if I would be able to do this, if there's any kind of evil surrounding him.
Okay.
Don't know if I would be able to do that.
What spells do you know? Just quickly, do you have the detect
No.
good and evil?
No.
Okay. For the purposes of it being a dream, let's say that you have it.
Ooh.
So, let me just find out how it works. Cleric will probably have it. Detect good and evil. Right, so you start to focus, and for some reason you're not used to, maybe it's just the arcane energies of the room, maybe it's just the fluidity of the reality of dreaming, but you start to kind of close your mind off to anything but sensing good or evil, as is the case with detect evil and good spell. For the duration, you know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know the place of an object which is consecrated or desecrated. The spell can penetrate barriers. Okay. Nothing seems to bounce off him. He seems to be a human. However, you do get a vague kind of sense that there is something undead to him.
Okay.
It's like he's where the spell would immediately go. There's an undead over there. There's an undead over here. You can't sense an undead in front of you, but you get this kind of weird kind of metallic taste in your mouth, which is starting to go, that's a sign of undead.
Delicious dead.
And then the metallic taste kind of gets stronger as you turn your head back to him and then go away again. But you know that he's not an undead from the like the information you have in front of you, and also just the spell hasn't worked as well as it would.
So what kind of things are you interested in?
World events, goings on, people, places, faces.
Do you have a surname, Victor?
Vance.
Victor Vance.
Victor Vance.
Victor Vance.
Let's say Victor Vance.
But that's not your actual surname.
It's one of my surnames.
Okay. It's just that you said, let's say it is. Is
Like-
it just because there's a lot?
Like I say, I have many names,
Including Victor Vance.
including Victor and Vance, yes.
Cool. Can I have a closer look at the room?
Yeah.
Like,
He, as you kind of start to look around, he goes, by all means, I will leave you to peruse, but you have a short amount of time here before you have to wake up.
Cool.
And he leaves through the door again.
Can I see how... oh, actually, because my sage feature as a researcher, do I recall any kind of lore that's associated with his names or a being like this?
I'm going to say make an intelligence check.
Oh, no! That's a 1, but...
It's
so
not
annoyed.
because of your
5.
feature. Excuse me.
Altogether.
Because of your feature, you can pull information on things. It was more to see if you could make a connection of certain
Yeah.
things. So you have no knowledge of a wizard named Victor, of high arcane energies or abilities. You have no knowledge of a Vance. However, you do know of a thing before the spell plague, which is where most of the magic of the D&D world kind of became more accessible. There was a kind of a philosopher of sorts known as Vance who spoke of the ability to read a spell and hold it in your head, but once you've said it, it then is lost out of your head. It's kind of like, to go out of game for a second, it's almost like you prepare the spell in your head. Sorcerers can't just go at will, here's a spell that I know. They have to prepare it in their head. Almost like Rinwen in Colour of Magic and other things like that, where he's got that spell that's lodged in his head, and then when he does say it, it is lost to him. He can't do it again.
Okay. Can I have a look through the door?
You go to the door and it is locked.
Can I try and open it?
Do you have anything to unlock the door?
My brute 9 strength.
Make a strength check.
17.
17. You lunge forwards at the door, and as you hit the door, your shoulder starts to just... It feels like someone's just stabbed into the top of your shoulder with a blade, and you come to in the tavern's upstairs room where you were sleeping, and there is nothing else around. The room is dark, apart from faint sunlight coming through the shutters, and there's nothing else that suggests that the dream has affected anything.
Can I have a look at my shoulder?
Yeah, you look at your shoulder, it hurts for some reason, but other than that, you're not sure why.
Ow.
It's almost like you fell off the bed onto your shoulder or something like that, but it hurt.
And everyone else is still asleep?
They're in their rooms that you know of. You've not come out of your room yet.
Can I go into the corridor?
Yeah, that's cool. You come out into the corridor. There are the 2 doors opposite you, which are the rooms for Brandis and Punch. The stairs to your left, going downstairs.
Can I listen in at Brandis's door and then Punch's?
Yeah, make a perception check.
That is 10.
10. You can hear the faint, kind of almost, not exactly snoring, but kind of like the more nasal breathing of both rooms, where it's much more kind of calm and not. There's no signs of anything of issue. It's just you can hear someone sleeping in the room.
Can I go downstairs?
Yeah, you go downstairs and everything is as you left it a few hours ago. The body's on the table. Through the windows now you can see that the sun is starting to reach a bit more of an angle in the sky. It's about, from the look of the sky, the sun out the window, it's about 9ish, 9:30.
Have I ever had any of these kind of dreams before?
Nope.
No. Can I do an Arcana check on my bedroom?
Yeah. So you go back upstairs, go into your room, make an Arcana check.
That is 19.
19. You can feel a very strong arcane energy coming from your backpack. But it feels like it's fading even now. It feels like it's almost like you've gone nearer something.
Yeah.
As it's brought to the boil and then you took it off the boil, it's slowly dropping in temperature now.
I quickly rummage into my rucksack.
Cool. Looking in the rucksack, you find the typical things in there of your tinderbox, rations, torches and stuff like that from your adventurer's pack. You also find your spell book that you have, and then you remember that... there's a kind of vague memory of this point. You remember that you had 6 books for Brandis, but you only gave him 5. There was Arcane Through It, there was a Magic Through the Ages, Draconic Ancestries, Crochet, How to Leave Your Gnome, and
Sorcery for Dummies.
And Sorceries for Dummies. The 6th one is this lovely green leather-bound book that sits at the back of your backpack, and you don't remember picking it up, but you also remember seeing it several times throughout your travels, and it just, again, it has these kind of lovely kind of serpents etched into the binding of it, but you don't remember putting it in your bag.
I would like to open that shit up, please.
You do? You open it, could you make a charisma saving throw?
Ooh. 12. Oh. Yeah, 12.
You are now chaotic neutral,
Ooh.
and you have access to all first level necromancy spells. That you can use this as essentially a second spell book. But as you open the pages, this kind of green ink starts to appear on the first page, and it starts to explain the first of many first level necromancy spells.
Alignment Reno.
There's a brief moment where you remember Victor in your dream telling you to look in your backpack next time that you next time you're not dreaming, and you now have a book in your hand that seems to be a bit like the books that were in his library, and now first level spells as the pamphlet he handed you saying necromancy first level indicated.
Brandis!
As you're slowly waking to the morning sun coming through the shutters, you just hear this screeching noise of Brandis from the other room.
I get up and leg it across straight away.
So you come out your door immediately into the next door.
Ow, what?
I've got a book!
Good. Thank you.
No, it's sorry, sorry, were you asleep? You were, sorry. It's a book. Well, look at it.
She hands you the tome that she had in her backpack.
I just go, flick through it, kind of yep.
As you flick through it, you can see that there's this weird kind of script in the first few pages, but you can't make head or tail of it. It seems to be a language you don't recognise. I
had this really weird dream. I do remember some of the dream, don't I?
Yeah, you remember it as if it just happened. Like, you remember all of it.
So, I was in this room and there was books everywhere and it was really cool. And there was a rug and other things. But there was this guy, like a wizardy guy with slick back hair and like kind of glowy green eyes. And he was like, "Ooh, next time you wake up, or when you wake up even, have a look in your rucksack. Because there's a thing there." And then I did, just now, and it's there.
Was it there before?
I don't think so.
I mean, you did work in a library.
Yeah, but I only picked up 5 books.
Well, you've got a book. I can't read it. It's junk to me. Sorry.
You look at it and it's like reading common.
What do you mean?
It's in weird.
It's clear common.
It's really not. Really not. It's
I just force it into his face. Look at it!
Still looks like strange doodles to you, Brandis, and to you it looks like common.
It's yeah, it's common. Okay, good.
Make an intelligence check, Rinwen. So we'll be here all day otherwise.
Intelligence check. That is a 19.
You've just been given things from a wizard. You are a wizard yourself. The sorcerer in the room can't read it. You know that spell books written by wizards are written in a wizard-like shorthand that only wizards can read. And even then, if they don't want other wizards to read, they can add, like, it's a bit like adding like a safe lock on it.
Yeah.
But you essentially know that you can read it because you're a wizard. You know wizard shorthand.
I kind of palm it back. You can go back to bed now.
Thank you. I'm just going to very stiffly walk back, try not to move any joints, so I don't hurt with my scales. Just like, ow. Ow. Oh, Jesus, ow.
So as you go back to apply salve, and you all come to over the next few minutes as your all natural early morning rises. 9:30 early, please, Stephen.
Damn creatives.
It's early when you go to bed at 4. Anyway, so you all wake, coming down into the tavern. The body has been moved now, and you can see outside that you're just seeing the tail end of a funeral procession walking out of one of the main roads to the outer stretches of Amphale. What would you like to do?
I put my mask on my face and I start beelining out of Amphale.
Which way are you going out of Amphale?
We're going north, aren't we? We're going
You're
towards...
planning. I'm just checking before we hit.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume that you're going north and then find that you guys wanted to go back south or anything like that.
Yeah, we're going...
We want to go back to Waterdeep.
We'll go back to Waterdeep. There's a whole story there. Please, Stephen. That's fine. So you just coming downstairs, seeing this happen, you just out and turn right rather than left, going up the other side of the main road that goes right through the middle of Amphale. I'm assuming that you two will be following.
Yeah, just leg it up and kind of go to just stop for a moment. Like for you to catch up. It's like, right. You know outside of Waterdeep better than I do. Punch.
No, I don't.
You've got no memory, do you?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Rinwen.
Good. Excellent.
Do you have any... How likely is this going to keep happening that we go to places and end up killing people by being there?
I imagine quite a few times. But maybe just in the beginning, because maybe they'll be like, ooh, we're bored now of Brandis. Let's not kill people near him and also Punch. I mean, I'm obviously not from Waterdeep, so I have seen about a little bit.
Yeah, you've travelled the area. That's why you know the Sumber Hills in the Desert Valley. But when you were travelling, because the question that seems to be posed is not, do you know the area? As in, like, do you know the lay of the land? It's, do you know the people of the land? And your travel was very much like
stop. It's a bit like when you're on train. It's like, I've been to Bristol on a train.
I've been through it, yeah.
I've been to Bristol in normal life, just so I'm not making... Because, I saw Skidner, they were great. Anyway.
Temple Meads and Parkway.
Yes.
The Windward Express.
Oh, that's cute.
You've had very fleeting stops in the cities and villages along the way from Cormier to Waterdeep. You'd stay the night if necessary to rest up, but you wouldn't be there for a couple of days, sort of thing.
2 people are dead because I left Waterdeep.
But it's also Punch's fault.
Because I made her leave Waterdeep.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I could have said no.
See, she's admitted it. It's fine.
It's quite clearly my fault. And the only thing we can do is to keep moving. We don't stop long in towns and places. Probably I shouldn't even go into towns.
See, losing my job at the library isn't so bad in comparison.
To give you guys a bit of a reminder, just in case you don't remember that part, because I didn't say it, the conversations you had throughout the town, through Amphale the day before you were there, you asked if anyone had been seen coming through, and apparently there was a man with a dog about a week before your arrival, so Gelbrook had been there once or twice before already. Mm-hmm. So they were searching for you, found you, and then you've dealt with him. You know that if Galbrook has been sent Punch, you know that he is sent on the jobs nobody wants to do. So if nobody wants to do it and you've taken the one guy out that likes to do those jobs nobody wants to do, you may not have to deal with more in your assumption of the information you have.
Look, it's probably likely they won't bother. I wasn't that high up, I didn't know that much. They've ticked a box trying to kill me and the pair of you. It might be that they won't bother. I think we just lay low for about a week, keep going. I think we'll be okay.
So,
Ish.
I guess then do we just keep going forwards?
There's nowhere else to go.
Go on.
So, knowing that the next kind of thing on your to-do list is to find out about these delegates from Mirabar that Brandis has been quite interested in their disappearance, you start to head north again, and in the joys that is D&D, we travel a few days in the leap of an eye. You travel for 2 days. Brandis, your salve is starting to get a bit low. Just to warn you, because we said that you had 10 days.
On 5.
You're on 5.
I'm on fire.
Rinwen, you don't have any other repeat dreams in those 2 days of Victor or the room. And there's no other people approaching you. Again, you're just travelling up a dirt track north towards the next place that you know on the list, or the last place that you heard of was the Desert Valley, and the main port of call for the Desert Valley is Red Larch, which is about 5 days travel north of Amphale. However, we stop just short of 3 days. Sorry, do you about to say something? Or?
Oh no, I
fine.
was acknowledging your... I don't hold the pencil anymore.
That's fine. You stop. You brought to something of interest on along the way. About 2.5 days travel up. So halfway through the 3rd day, you come to. There's a small kind of forest-like area to your left. There's just a meadow to your. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Yeah, a meadow to your right. And shut up. You can see ahead of you in the distance, about a mile ahead, but it's fairly sizable. This large kind of mixed, muddled building with 2 large kind of side stables either side of it, with massive like metal gates either on front of the stables. It's about a mile ahead, but you can make out these things coming up.
Ooh.
Well, that looks fancy.
And big.
They might be in charge.
As you travel for the next about 20 minutes, you get closer and closer, and as you get up there is a small wooden plaque on the side of the road that just says "Help Wanted, See Within."
Sounds exciting.
It is a fancy house.
Mm-hmm.
Can we help?
I'll need the money.
Please.
I do need money.
Yeah.
That'll be a yes.
By the way, just talking of money, could both spellcasters mark a gold off of their money because you've cast spells and been to a village where you've refreshed things? Just mark a gold off just in
To
case.
sweet 29 gold.
Oh, look at you, little Miss Moneybags.
Jesus, really?
Yep, I apparently didn't pick any up when I left my job.
So, you have this now that you're right outside it, and it's about a good 20-30 feet off the beaten track to the front door. You can see this large kind of, almost like a Victorian, Edwardian kind of tavern building. The higher level has a jut over the lower level of the building. There is this plain wooden door. There's you can see the beams that are holding the structure together, and there's these large kind of stables either side with these massive metal grates over the front of them. There is a small kind of string fence thing on the side to the right that seems to be empty, but there's just a little plaque of wood that sits next to it.
Can I read the plaque of wood?
Okay, so you walk over to it and you can see that it says Petting Zoo in small kind of weird letters. It's like someone's tried to do calligraphy, but it's terribly
Can I
done.
just knock on the door? Kind of lightly enough to be coy, but heard still.
So you gently tap on the door. The door opens and you are greeted by a short, about 4.5 foot blue tiefling in a very plain kind of white dress. She has both of her horns are very short and just kind of reach the back of her skull rather than being quite ostentatious and sight-worthy. She looks up to you. Hello, welcome to the Alberdecke. How may I help you? Thank you for listening to the Alignment Unknown podcast. The players were Adam Unwin as Brandis Thorn, Kirsty Mealing as Rinwen Thaslananel, and Kyra Leigh as Punch. DM'd by Steve Archer. All music was performed by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 licensing. For more information on this, go to creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0. All of these links can be found in the description of the episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.